All right, welcome to the Good Rookies podcast. My name is Faheem.
And my name is Nelly J, y'all, and we are Good Rookies.
That's right.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Good Tuesday. And folks, it is episode 35.
35.
35, y'all. So guys, as we know, every Tuesday we always have an amazing podcast episode, and this one will be no different. Faheem, please introduce our incredible guest for this evening.
All right. So we have somebody that goes back 20 plus years we've debated on not just basketball, but many different sports going over the years. So this is nice to actually bring it on a podcast. And he's not only just great at sports, also a great father also, I must say. Very role model father. And that's what I got to say for him. Let's bring on Chris Pollmann to the podcast today.
Chris. What's going on, Chris? How are you?
Hey, how you guys doing? Thanks for having me on this podcast. This is a wonderful thing that you guys are doing for the culture, and really proud of you guys, what you do.
Nice.
It's awesome. Thanks for being on here with you guys.
Nice.
Thank you, Chris. So Chris, go way back, right back in the day. And it's out of curiosity, can you share with the listeners and viewers out there hopefully funny or interesting story about you and Faheem in basketball or any sport experience you guys ever had together?
Basketball, wow.
Or sport experience. It could be y'all played a game together, y'all watched a game, anything.
We've watched many games together. The only time that Faheem and I have actually played against each other was probably in a men's league up in Markham, a long time ago, when he used to play for I think it's All Blacks.
I think it might have been All Blacks, right?
Men's team. So that's probably about it. He's a silky smooth left-handed forward that was hard to cover. I don't know why I laughed, but we've had many times we've hung out, watched NCAA tournaments, finals. I think we must have watched like 5 or 6 in a row. Duke and Butler games, fantastic times. Just really good friend.
That's awesome. And I guess for the guys to know more about you, who is your favorite player ever in sports?
Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley.
Really? That's a wicked answer. So why Charles Barkley? What about him made you be attached to him or like him so much?
Undersized, power forward, played with a certain grit. Obviously he led the league in rebounding one year, listed at 6'5", probably about 6'3", and just a very aggressive player, and liked his style of play. So I'd like to say that I tried to model my game after his in terms of being aggressive and embracing contact and getting to the free throw line. Unfortunately he never won, but yeah, he's up there for me as one of the greatest players of all time, and definitely one of my favorite players of all time as well.
Wow, that's awesome. Honestly, we've had many guests come on the podcast and no one has named Barkley as one, so I'm happy I asked you that question for sure.
Yeah. So actually that's the first time someone's named someone who actually hasn't won. That's not a shot at Barkley, but that actually speaks to the fact that your admiration for Barkley is a real thing. You know what I'm saying? Because usually people choose the winners, but he's still a winner now, I guess, your eyes, right?
Definitely, for sure. And he's won the gold medal, so he's a winner.
That's true.
He's a winner. He won something. That counts. There's not a lot of people that can say that they actually won the Olympics, right?
Right.
But a lot of people didn't beat out Michael Jordan, so that doesn't mean that he's But anyways, yes.
Right.
It's true.
Right. Well, that's 2 things that I didn't know. One, I had no idea that Barkley was your guy. As long as I've known you, and I had no idea that your last name was 2 N's. I did not know your last name had 2 N's. As long as I've known you.
First of all, you're 20 plus years, and I get a hold up. Your last name is what? I can't.
I knew the last name, but the spelling, it threw me off. I was like, wow, how did I not know that?
Well, I mean, people just call me Pullman. They don't actually ask how you spell your last name.
Last name, right?
That's true.
You know. But it's don't worry, it's a common thing. Everybody
Right.
just uses one N. I think a couple of times on my basketball jerseys, it's had just one N. So
All right.
You know, it's nice
Cool.
explaining that to the parents when they come to watch you play. How come they can't spell your name right? Don't they like you?
All righty.
Yeah.
Awesome. So thanks again, Chris, for being on here.
Mhm.
Faheem, let's get into some hot topics this week.
All
brother.
right. So, first of all, I just want to say rest in peace to DMX.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a hard, that was a rough day. Rough day.
What do you guys have to say about, real quick, about DMX, his impact he might have had, maybe musically for you guys?
So I think like what's really I'm really happy that Swiss and Timbaland had the versus battle last year, because I think that reawakened to a lot of fans or even the youngsters about who DMX was, his catalog, his energy, his vibe. Like he was always a good light and he was always honest. Something about DMX was that he was never afraid to share his demons. Like he will let you know about his addiction, how it happened, him being, given cocaine at 14 by his mentor, like just really the stuff he's battling with. He was open about it. I think a lot of these stars, we call them, or artists, never really share a lot of that stuff, and he was that person. So I really respected him being candid, him being honest, and him being vulnerable, right? And always saying that he needed God to help him get through his trouble. So big up to DMX. We definitely lost a legend, an icon in the culture, and his impact, I think, will last forever, So yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's for me.
Yeah, definitely a sad day. I mean, he's somebody that I definitely listen to. Like a lot of his music, very, very like the same thing, very real, very guttural. Kind of gave you a picture of the environment that you lived, very vivid. And yeah, very, very spiritual as well. Unfortunately, like you said, had issues with drugs and alcohol, and in a way, maybe he can honestly rest at peace. He was a troubled individual throughout his life, and had troubles, and so now, maybe the positive is he can finally put those to rest as he's laid to rest. But great performer, great artist, great lyricist. I think in '98, he was probably one of the first artists to ever release 2 gold albums in the same year.
Yep.
Phenomenal. I think he must have released maybe 5 albums that were all gold albums every time they released, his first 5. Yeah, just great performer, great rapper. Talking about this the other day, of all the rappers, he probably has a lot of the anthems. Like I don't know if I can name another rapper that has more anthems than DMX. Like he might not be the lyricist of the Jay-Z and Nas's, but I mean, just the amount of anthems that this guy was able to create with Swiss beats is just incredible.
Yep.
And honestly,
doubt.
like every Christmas, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, like his Christmas song that he did, shiny nose, like everything he did was just always like fun, and like you said, the anthem. It made everyone like playing a sport. Like I played DMX before I played basketball game because it gets you pumped up and like just ready to attack and excel. So yeah, like the anthem thing is for real, Chris. That's a real thing.
Well, with the Christmas anthem, that one is, I think, that's gonna live on. That's gonna have traction.
Yes.
I think that's going to be the Christmas anthem going forward. What you're saying, Chris, in regards to him and Swiss, I totally 100% agree. I do think Swiss and DMX is very much like Shaq and Kobe. Like, I mean, when you talk about anthems and just like partnerships, he just really a lot of his biggest hits were under Swiss beats. And I just had an experience where I went take my daughter out for a walk, and the day that he had passed, cars were just driving by playing his music, and it's incredible to see the amount of like I hadn't listened to his music in a while, and it's amazing like hearing it passing by and just hearing one tune, and that he must have, over a span of maybe 20 minutes, I must have heard maybe about literally 10, like every 2 minutes, 10 different songs, and all of them were just like bangers. Like, wow, like his catalog is deep. He left something behind. And one last thing in regards to what we're speaking about his addictions. What I really admire about DMX is, as you were mentioning, he was honest about it. And one thing I know about especially now is like culture. It's where we're digging into a lot of the past, this cancel culture thing. And what I do like is the fact that DMX is no longer here with us, but there's not, no one can dig anything else about him because he's already aired it out already. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. Yeah. I also add, it's something beautiful that Jay-Z and Beyonce did, is that they are going to buy his catalog and give the catalog to his kids is what I'm hearing.
I heard that, but then I heard that.
Swiss debunked that. He said that they weren't going to buy it. I think someone spread that rumor, but I mean, but I think, I think Swiss came out and said that was the debunked rumor. But to add to what you were saying, Chris, like his music and his streaming, Faheem, it actually soared 928% more streams following his death. So I think everyone, so like I actually have DMX in my my cardio playlist. Like I have 2 or 3 DMX songs that I play for like when I'm running or going for walks because it gets me just motivated. So like I've been playing DMX because his music is so like energetic. It gets you in the zone. So yeah, so I'm happy now people are actually recognizing that his talents are just has always been there. You know what I mean?
It's always unfortunate that we have to recognize people after they've passed.
Right.
So it is good that, like you said, he was able to do that versus with Snoop. Sort of reintroduce him to people,
So so we're going to give him his flowers right now. So rest in peace to DMX, Earl Simmons. Rest in peace. So, in regards to the Overtime Elite League, this is exciting stuff, guys. So there's Overtime, if anyone's not aware, is it's a platform in which it's really designed around like high school basketball players for them to showcase their highlights. And now they're looking to be beyond just content for digital content for young up and coming players. They're actually expanding to be an actual league and a gateway to being a professional career. Nelly J,
I think it's amazing. I'm actually really happy about this because the NCAA has had its time, right? It's had its time. They've had so many players and athletes come through. And so it's great to see that we are now seeing more options for young, talented players who can make it without having to be in a specific area, know the right people, or be in a specific, class in society, right? It seems like they recruit these young athletes that are talented. They don't care, where they live or whatever. They'll get you into a home, into a league, into a mentorship program with good coaches, and they're going to pay you. I think right now, some players, especially in Canada, right? If you're a young, talented basketball player, where do you go, right? So you have to go certain people or certain schools to get that type of attention. And I think this will give athletes that are in impoverished areas a chance to give their kids opportunities to play and excel because it costs money to excel, right, in sports. So great idea. I'm very excited. And NCAA, if I'm y'all, I'd be scared.
Very scared.
Yeah.
Right.
How about you, Chris?
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely a great thing. I think, like you said, NCAA time is up. They've sort of tried to adjust. They want to pay athletes for their likeness. There's a ruling passed in California, but we're not exactly sure how that's really going to affect the athletes right now. And I think that's what Overtime Elite League is trying to do. Now, I don't think that I think that it's like a stepping stone in terms of what they're going to do, because as they've talked about it as they're going to have maybe 30 kids aged 16 to 18.
Right.
So right away I'm thinking, well, how can you have a league with 30 kids, right? So it's going to be a great opportunity for those kids that are selected, but I think it's going to be something where maybe the 30 kids that are at this facility, getting the sports nutrition that they need, learning how to navigate a digital world, learning how to take care of their money, are going to be playing games amongst themselves. So maybe it's going to be like, 30 guys. They'll have, 6 teams within those 30, and they'll play 5-on-5. Like, it's not really, they're not really saying how they're going to play these games or what this league is actually going to look like. But the people that are backing it, I think they have Carmelo Anthony on the board, Kevin Durant, Avery Johnson, former CFOs of Major League Baseball. So, I mean, they have all the right people in place. So, I mean, it's definitely a great thing. I think it's definitely, they need some change. I think even Adam Silver's spoken that, they're going to keep a watchful eye on it, but they think that this is something that's really good for the game of basketball. And I think the NBA is also going to revisit their one and done rule to allow high school kids to come in a little bit earlier. But as I said, I think it's more of a stepping stone. Like, to me, it's more of a model of what will happen in the future. If you look over in Europe, you have club teams, soccer teams that have these young kids come and train for these sort of like Arsenal junior team. So I think eventually, you could have something where you have the same sort of thing. So you're bringing in these kids and you can expand it. So definitely a great idea. I feel like it is going to be a stepping stone to something better and greater along the way. Like, I think the makeup of what they're talking about is going to change as it goes through. But definitely a great business model for kids, giving them an opportunity to make some money. And if they don't get pro careers, they're going to get scholarships to go to university. Right. So there's going to be support there.
And the 30 players, they're looking at about 100,000 that they'll be paying these players. So if you look at that in comparison to maybe what a college tuition would be to a D1 school, it's like, wow, okay. Or even like right now, you still do have an option where you can go from high school, but you can possibly go to like the Canadian Basketball League, or you can go play over in Europe. It's still, like LaMelo Ball went over and played in Lithuania before, you know what I'm saying? So you're right. It's just, it goes to show just the climate we're in right now. Because before, you'd have to think, I'm going to the NCAA, then I'm going, to the NBA. Now in 2021, with this option, so I'll throw this question out. Do you think that this is the start of more youth leagues being a gateway? You think this is like, I happen to think this might be the first of many to come over the next few years.
Yeah, like I think there'll be more. The only challenge though is that sometimes these kind of startup leagues don't do well because there's a lot of overhead cost to get it up and running, and then it goes. That's why like we see like a lot more like basketball classics or tournaments, because those are easier to manage versus an entire league infrastructure to manage that, right? In Canada, NBL 10 years, but then we've seen other leagues come and go and teams come and go. So it'll be challenging for sure. But again, for overtime, I think if they can kind of manage a good niche market, saying that, hey, like we're going to recruit kids that don't have the opportunity to do these things, right? If I'm overtime, I'm going to areas where there's good, talented children, but like their mentorship isn't there for them at that time. And I think, like the richer kids, their families have the means and money to do those things. But if in a poorer area, I don't have that means and money to get that knowledge of stuff like that. So I think if I'm them, I'm targeting the children or the kids that don't have that type of reach when it comes to monetary value, right, for basketball. Because I think a lot of time with these kids who are coming up, it's like, I have to get paid to play, right? So that's why they prefer going to the NBA as soon as possible versus playing in their prime in college. And, like we see kids prime in college and in NBA, they do nothing, right? So it's like, there's different levels to this. So no, I definitely think we'll see more of this, but I think having a good model is important. So we'll see if over time can get a good model and like get it going, you know what I'm saying? So that'll be dope.
Yeah, I think overtime has been really successful in a short amount of time. Like where they started maybe 5 years ago to where they are now is incredible. And they've built themselves off of young high school basketball players. So, I like your idea about let's go to certain priority neighborhoods and let's help out that community. But I think it's going to come down to the kids ultimately. So you're going to have the Zion Williamsons, the RJ Hamptons, the Julian Newmans, who are already featured on their webpage. And these are the kids that people want to follow and they want to hear their stories. So, I mean, ultimately, they're going to pick the best basketball players in America, right? So, and those are the stories you're gonna see, and sort of they'll show that on their website. So I think for them, I mean, sky's the limit. Like, I think it's going to be successful, but I also think that it is a stepping stone to something bigger and greater, and just allowing sort of the youth to have an opportunity to make money at an earlier age. So yeah, I competition-wise, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, there's already competition with the G League, right? Because they're allowing high school kids to play in the G League now, but maybe that'll change when they get rid of the one-and-done rule.
Right.
But yeah, definitely a stepping stone to bigger and better things.
Yeah, well, we'll keep an eye on that for sure. So we have. So I want to give a welcome to Gary Trent Jr. And here's the reason why. We had lost Norm Powell, who's a fan favorite. Salute to Norm Powell. Happy trails. Best of luck in Portland. So when Norm left, it was not a popular decision, much like when DeMar DeRozan had left. It was not a popular decision. And Gary Trent Jr. coming from Portland was kind of like the new kid in the school, where, you know, people had to feel him out, be like, they weren't too happy with him being there initially. Since he's been a Raptor, he's been on fire. Doing record stuff. Had a great few weeks, and it looks like he may be the future two guard for the team. I'll let you guys say what you have to say about Gary Trent Jr., and then I got a question for you guys. So Nelly J, go first. What do you have to say about Gary Trent Jr. so far? Welcome him into the Raptors.
Gary Trent Jr. is an example of when a player feels valued, when a player feels wanted, when a player feels the love, they can excel. You know, just like when they say a troubled youth or someone that has talent is not doing well, what's the issue? It's because the extra boost of like, you're wanted, you're valued, we need you. The Raptors culture is so good for that. You know what I mean? And I think when Gary came here from day one, he was like, you know what, I'm excited to be here. It's a good organization. It's a good culture. And you can tell that even on the sidelines, like see him talking to Kyle Lowry and how he talks to Fred, like they're already a family unit. Like he's fitting very well in our culture. And that has translated on the court. And it just shows that someone like Gary is like, Gary Trent Jr., sorry. I'm very excited that he's here. I think he had 85% shooting. I think he's as high as Clay and Giannis, like never been done. So
on that game, right?
He's playing exceptionally well as a new Raptor. And like we said, for him, the very first day, we were like Gary Trent and Norman, like same player, same type of value. So we weren't scared, but most people don't know who he was, right? So they're like, who's Gary Trent Jr.? But now people are familiar, and I'm excited to see what he does in the Raptors. How about you, Chris?
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I mean, he's a little bit younger than Norman Powell, so it's always good to get a young player. And I think that's what the Raptors were thinking. Like this is a player that's similar to Norman Powell. Norman Powell's probably going to command a lot of money in the off season. Let's bring in this young talent. I mean, I think he was averaging maybe 15 points again for Portland. So those are good numbers. You know, since he's been in Toronto, those numbers have kind of jumped up. He's hovering around maybe 17. So it's been an improvement of 2 points a game. But you can see the potential. I think now the only thing is that, you know, he's playing so well. He's scoring these phenomenal, like, what did he have, 44 the other day? That maybe his value is now increased so much in the Raptors. So has he marketed himself out of what the Raptors can actually afford?
Right.
Because they didn't want the rumors they didn't want to pay Powell at $20 million or whatever it is, like that.
Right.
And now this is kind of where I see Gary Trent making his money. Like he's in that range now. Like I think Powell was averaging 19 points a game before he left. And you know, it's tough because as Torontonians, as Raptor fans, we've kind of seen him grow over the years. This is Norman Powell, where, you know, he grinded out, he played 905, and there was that slow improvement in his game. And everybody likes to see that, somebody grind and get better. So that's why it was kind of hard to sort of see him go. But I definitely think that Masai chose the right replacement. And who else was put in the trade as well? Did we forget about Rodney Hood?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did. I mean, he was a throwaway. He was a throwaway. That's what he said. Rodney was a throwaway.
No shot though. Congratulations, Rodney Hood. Welcome to the team.
Welcome, Rodney. By the way, yes, but yes, sorry, welcome. But welcome, Gary, as well.
We'll welcome them both, but Gary gets the flowers. Unfortunately,
that's right. We're giving Gary his flowers now.
He gets the roses.
Speaking of what you're saying about Gary's value, Gary Trent's value. So watch this. Gary Trent. On the offseason, Norm Powell, they're saying about $20 million is about a fair price for what he's going for. Gary Trent Jr., they say what the play that he's at now, he could be at 15. So not quite 20, but about 15, right? So this leads as a second, or it's kind of a segue to my question here. So at age of 22, who's a better player, Norman Powell? Just give me a quick name. Norman Powell or Gary Trent Jr.? Because Gary Trent Jr. now is 22. Norman Powell is 27.
Gary
at
Trent
22.
Jr. Gary Trent Jr.
I think Gary Trent's 23, but Gary Trent Jr. is definitely the better player.
Right.
Was Norman Powell in college at that age?
No, Norm was, I think, in his first year as a Raptor. So he was
2015, right?
Right.
Is when he got drafted?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, but definitely Gary Trent's the better player.
Definitely. So that's one thing we have to look into is if we can say that Gary Trent's the better player now, and opposed to paying $20 million for Norman Powell at 27 or 28, and getting 15 for Gary Trent at 22 or 23. I think in the long run, if this continues even close to where it looks like it's going, that's another one under Masai and Bobby Webster's cap that they could say this one worked out pretty well.
Yo, these guys find gems, man. And Masai and Bobby Webster, ingenious. I tell you, they pick these folks. You're like, who? How? But then like they pick gems all the time. So yeah, so I'm excited. I mean, is it Bynes? Like he's been still away, but other than him, like they always pick like good players. So I'm actually happy with Gary Trent Jr.
Definitely. I think they can also kind of sit back a little bit because he is a restricted free agent, so they can see kind of what the market is out there.
Right. They can
and make the decision to match it. So
yeah,
hopefully we can get him for less than what Norman would have got. But yeah, definitely a great pickup. All they need now is a big man.
Right. And I think we might have to wait for next year. That might be a conversation we'll have to revisit maybe next year, because I don't see us making any moves after trade deadline now. Anyone?
Well, we have to
get a big
I
man.
think it'll have to come in the draft. I don't.
Yeah, you gotta drop.
Yeah. Season's
Yeah, the draft. Yeah, that'll be draft. But I think the Raptors. I think their sights on a big man. Aaron Baines is out. Like he's not even playing right now. So we need a big man. We need at least one or two, like 4 or 5 players.
Shout out to Canadian Cam Birch.
Yes, we got Cam Birch. So so is he here permanently, or is he a 10-day contract? Like, what's his contract like, Cam Birch? If you know.
I believe they signed him to the end of the year, right?
Okay.
Birch,
yep.
Definitely.
So we got him. So he's our guy. You know, for what he does, why not? It's him or Baines, and I'm going with Birch.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like, Cam Birch is a good pickup, especially in the later half. And I guess before we go for the culture, what's your thoughts, guys? Are we making the playoffs? Are we doing a push for the playoffs right now? Are we tanking? What are we doing with the Raptors right now? What's happening?
Well, I would have thought they should have tanked. Hopefully get a higher draft pick, but really, I don't know that there's a kid in the draft that's really going to change your franchise and give you 15, 20 wins. But the Raptors have been very, very resilient. I mean, they've won a couple games recently. Like they're making the playoffs. I'm gonna call it here. I mean, with Zach LaVine now coming down with COVID, he's gonna miss a bunch of games. I think that Chicago is definitely catchable. And I think we can sort of stave off Washington. they're going to get into that playoff position of what is it, 7 to 10?
7 to 10, right?
Yeah, the playing
Yeah,
tournament.
so I definitely think they're going to be making the playoffs.
I'm with you. I think anywhere like 10, 9, wherever, I think we're in. Think about this. Our team, I'd have to say the Raptors have been probably most hurt this season. Like we've had 20 something different starting lineup changes. Like it's just been a mess for our personnel. And I don't think we've even had a stretch of 2 weeks where we've had our consistent starters. So, I mean, sometime I'm expecting, Lowry, Van Vliet, these guys to come back. And I think once this team is actually full and healthy, we're definitely good enough to get into playoffs. So I'm with Chris on this one, and I assume you too, Nelly J. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like,
all right, cool.
Yeah. So playoff Raptors, put it out there in the universe. Let's get it.
That's right.
Get it done, y'all.
That's right.
we gonna make it happen. The good rookies are gonna make it happen.
All right.
Yes.
Right.
Our energy. There you go.
All right, Nelly J. So let's go to For the Culture.
For the culture, we like to highlight individuals and groups for the culture. And today we want to highlight Pascal Siakam. So he actually has a foundation that's actually called PS43 Foundation in Canada. And what he did was that on his birthday, he turned 27. Happy birthday, Pascal. On his birthday, he actually launched Coding for Champions, which is funded by Penny Appeal Canada. And it's providing 60 students in Toronto at 2 high schools access to technology skills, computer, laptop, coding, everything like that, building websites. And it's to address the divide in the digital space in the city of, the GT of Toronto. So I think it's a great initiative. It's the first of its kind in Canada that we have. And I thought it was really fantastic that we have someone from Cameroon that has played in basketball in Canada is now contributing to the culture that he plays in. So, Chris, what's your thoughts on what he's doing with this Coding for Champions?
Well, I think it's really important. I mean, access is everything, and unfortunately, I think these schools are middle schools, Parkdale and Queen Victoria, in the Parkdale area. I mean, this is a priority neighborhood. Not a lot of the people have access to even things like Wi-Fi. So I think this is fantastic. Allowing young kids to have that opportunity and access to a computer. They get to keep the computer when the program is done.
Mm-hmm.
So this is an opportunity for kids to learn. And you say mentorship from Pascal. They have to create websites, I think, and they're going to show it to Pascal when they're done. So who knows what can happen to these young individuals as they get older and continue to code and use their computers. I think it's extremely great opportunity for those young kids in that priority neighborhood.
No doubt. So Chris, you being a father of 3, and especially with COVID now, you see how with kids now, they're working from home. You know what I'm saying? Like people are at home and a lot of time on the tablet, on the computer. This generation now is a lot different than I can say all 3 of us, where we didn't grow up in front of a tablet or in front of technology. You know what I'm saying? Our technology is probably the phone,
Pagers.
So there's, I looked into, there's 5 things of purpose where coding works out for these younger kids right now. So one, it's another language. So like it teaches kids how to think logically and communicate through another language of, zeros and ones. So it's technology where they can actually use this. It fosters creativity, because it strengthens their brain, and they're just using just a different side of their brain at a young age. It helps with math skills. So STEM programs around the world are actually starting to get into and starting to have these kids do it younger. They improves academic performance in writing, just because it shows kids how to organize their thoughts and how to plan, to understand what their thoughts are, to lay it out. And lastly, coding helps kids to be problem solvers. And that's one thing, especially in today's where we're at now is you need to there's a lot of success in people who are the problem solvers. It's always about technology, is about change, right? And these kids, it's great that these kids are now embracing, because technology is changing so quickly. These kids are having an opportunity to use these skills that they've learned from a younger age and apply it to real life situations as they get older. So what Pascal is doing is he's really, there's a lot of players that are just athletes, people in general, who make contributions. This contribution, for however much many kids, is one of those lasting contributions that, especially at the age he's going for, this is a lifelong thing that they'll always look back at. And I think, thank Pascal Siakam for. So salute to Pascal Siakam for this.
No, it's dope. And to add to what you were saying, it is a 10-week program. 10 weeks is so it started April this month and it ends in June. So this is like a great timing for them, especially now. And like for me personally in high school, a single mother with 4 kids, like we didn't have a computer until maybe I was in high school, and sometimes no printer. So I remember like I used to go to my friend's house to type up my essays and print at her house, because you know what I mean? So giving kids laptops, like what? Like these are things that people take for granted that some kids can't even afford. Like Chris said, we have Wi-Fi in their home. So this is going to be huge, a boost of confidence in these children, which is huge right now during COVID, as well as going to give them a stepping stone in their career. So I'm very excited for this program. I think Queen West and Parkdale public schools, I think those kids are going to be so motivated. And then imagine kids coming up. Like, you know what, guys, our school has the coding for champions. Like, it's going to really motivate change in those schools and that area. So great initiative. Big up Spicy P, Mr. Double Dribble, fourth quarter. I got to call you out, bro. And I got to call you out. And, I can't wait. And hopefully, we can see other foundations, because, Pascal doing this one, but there's other schools out there that need this initiative. So I'm hoping we can see other athletes from others, from other sports in Toronto kind of also do a similar program as well, because it's important.
Definitely. I think people will jump on. I mean, you have baseball and you have hockey. I think definitely you might see sort of a trend to help out, and I think it's a good thing, man. It's definitely great for the culture, and like you said, like it's gonna snowball effect into something bigger and better for these young kids in the future, right? Maybe some days these kids will be designing the movies for Disney. Like just access, opportunity. That's all you need, right? So. Good job, Pascal.
No doubt. So let's go to our last segment, which is That's Absurd.
That's absurd for him, bro. What was absurd this week? What was absurd?
Oh, this one. DeShaun Watson.
DeShaun?
Yes.
Watson. What a mess. Hot mess. Hot massage mess. Like oil and everything. Lotion, everything. Just mess. Go ahead, Faheem.
So so you just touched upon it. He's had now I guess we're going to go with allegedly. We're going to slap allegedly all over this conversation.
Well, what we can say is that it's been filed. 22 women have filed. That's the update yesterday. 22. That's a lot of people, Faheem.
Still allegedly, though.
We're still going with allegedly, though. But
well,
22 civil, 1 criminal, so 23, I think total.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, so 23. but apparently 1 dropped out yesterday. So I'm saying, like, right now, there's been a lawsuit filed against him with 22 women's names on it.
Well, I don't want to get involved with that, so I'm gonna slap allegedly all over this conversation. So DeShaun Watson.
As per ESPN. Blame them. As per ESPN. Thank you. Yeah.
Quote your sources.
Yes.
DeShaun Watson. So as we know about everyone knows this, about his massage thing. We'll go with that. Nike and Beats by Dre, they're the first major sponsors to drop him. So that's more, yes, it's absurd. We all know the absurdity of what's happening with that. We'll leave the courts for that. I just want to kind of talk about Nike and Beats by Dre dropping him, this major sponsors. What's your angle on with that, guys?
To me, if I'm Nike, 1 woman, okay. 2, 22, bye. There's too much, like, and it's not even that, you know, remember, right? Nike is a very inclusive company. They have women athletes, they have women sponsorships. I mean, like, you can be sponsoring women athletes, and then you have a sponsor that you're sponsoring that also has a court case against him with 22 women, allegedly, ESPN source, right? It's just too much. And I think Nike, you know, they're very, like, you know what happened with Lil Nas X last week with the blood Nike shoes that they were trying to sell, and they sued them. Like, Nike just doesn't play. They ain't got time for this. So I don't blame Nike or Beats by Dre. They have a brand to uphold, and they come first. So bye, DeShaun Watson, bye. How about you,
Chris? Before you get in here, I just want to throw in: are we going with innocent till proven guilty, or are we like what are we going with here?
Well,
okay, go ahead.
Again, right? When it comes to the brand, remember, brands are different. So the brands doesn't really care about if he's innocent. The brands care about like, you know, image, right? Okay. So the fact that you have 22 women filing something against you, for them, like, they ain't backing you up, right? If DeShaun Watson owned Nike, he can say something, but he doesn't. Okay. So, like, Michael Jordan and DeShaun Watson, two different levels of Nike, you know, relationship, right? So I just feel like for DeShaun Watson, someone that isn't really bringing them a lot of money and value, why keep someone on your team? There's no point. Like, to me, like, the ROI isn't there to keep him on there. How about you, Chris?
I think perception is everything, right? And you know, presumed innocence, it doesn't look good. Like, like it just doesn't. I mean, you know, 1, 2, 3, 15, 20. Like, it's just the numbers insane. Like, I mean, I don't know. I think if you have a massage therapist, don't you stick with that one massage therapist? Like, why are you jumping around from massage therapist to massage therapist?
But I just want to throw this out there.
I think Nike did the right thing. Like they had to cut ties with them. I don't think you have a choice. Like, you have to sort of let this play out. And then, you know, I'm sure if he is innocent, then I'm sure they'll sponsor him again in some capacity, not right away, and then announce it later. Like, I think, didn't they do that with Kobe? Didn't they say, hey, we're going to pull back your sponsorship, but they were still kind of paying him?
Yeah, I think same thing with Tiger also, I think.
Yeah. But guys, Kobe and Tiger are like, they're the
gold. To promote him again, right? So, but yeah, like, it does not look good for DeShaun whatsoever.
No, it doesn't. I'm gonna piggyback off what you kind of said here. Him, you know, if you're in, why do you need 20-something massage therapists, right? I just want to throw this though. He's a player, meaning he could be in 22 different cities in 22 different weeks. Like, he's, you know, his job.
Well, remember, not really, because NFL there's only 16 games, bro. There's 22 games. Like, there's 16 games in the season.
The
numbers don't lie.
The numbers don't lie, bro. You play 16 games for him. That's it. You play 16 games in the season. So, listen, at the end of the day, right? This is my thing with players, and I mean it in the kindest way. Like, don't be stupid. Like, don't be dumb. Like, at the end of the day, I just feel like these players, it's egos, right? Sometimes they forget who they are, and you're a target. When you're a millionaire, and especially when you're a Black athlete in North America, you're a target for people who want to sue you, make money off of you, right? We've seen what happened with players who got girls pregnant, and then they pledge, oh, he got me pregnant, but he ain't paying child support. Like, you have to understand, you are a target, so you cannot move like a regular youth. You can't, right? And I think DeShaun Watson got to his head that no one will ever, again, it's all alleged, like, innocent until proven guilty. But my thing is that if 22 different women are putting their name on a lawsuit against you, bro, that ain't looking good. It's not.
Okay, I agree. I just want to throw this out there. So, DeShaun Watson, so when we think of football and we think of player movement, I probably say over the last 2 or 3 years, I've seen unprecedented player movement. Like, and I'm talking during the season, you're hearing guys trade. Usually in football, you're not seeing those kind of trades. A lot of movement. DeShaun Watson, he's at the forefront of an NFL player moving like an NBA player. The fact that he wanted to force his way out and how he's forced his way out is unprecedented. Okay, like, no one does this. I'm just throwing this out there. It's kind of coincidental that someone who's looking to break the mold, and then weeks later, these come out. So here's my question. Do you guys think that the fact that he was pretty much a trailblazer in regards to what's happening with the NFL right now and could have pretty much changed the game? Because, if DeShaun Watson gets out of Houston like he wants to, then other players, it's a free-for-all, just like the NBA. You think it's a possibility they want to shut this down and or actually, let me rephrase my question. Do you think it's a coincidence that this happened a week, 2 weeks after?
But not 2 weeks after though, because he's been wanting to move since December.
I get it.
You know what I mean?
I get it.
So like he wanted to move since like last season. Even JJ Watt was like, bro, I'm sorry, you should go. So him moving isn't a recent thing. It's been going on for the last year. I think the timing is off, but I also think that, unfortunately, I think the biggest timing issue that I see where you're coming from is that it is kind of is it a conspiracy? I mean, like Bill Cosby when he wanted to buy the channel or buy NBC, and all of a sudden women come say that he drugged them. All of a sudden when he wanted to buy, like we've seen whatever Black people that are trying to make change in America, if you got dirt on you, the dirt will come out. So again, my thing is this, like, back to my original comment, like, don't be stupid. Like, you can't be making these big changes if you have dirt, you got to clean up that dirt before you make those big steps, because especially when it comes to the corporate and these types of private type relationships, if you are a target for someone, they will find dirt on you. You know what I mean? Right. So
holla back with a yes or no on this. Ready?
Yeah.
If you believe in conspiracies, sure. If you believe in conspiracies, then I'll say, yeah, they're trying to they're trying to make sure that there's no power shift in the NFL like there's in the NBA. And the NBA, the players kind of run. They have a lot of power. They can decide their future. I mean, you just saw James Harden decide his future and get himself out of Houston. So, the timing is, I mean, I think it's personally just coincidence, but if you want to believe in conspiracy theories, okay, sure. I get it. The NFL is saying, no, we don't want these individuals to have the power to transfer from team to team or say, you know what, I'm done here. Let me move. We got to make sure that the owners still hold the power. Yeah. Because the majority of the owners are white, and they don't want any of the players having the power. But truthfully, I can't wrap my head around 22. Like that's just insane. And I know the lawyer for DeShaun Watson said, well, he reached out to them, DM'd them on Instagram, and so it was consensual. I'm like, I don't know, like,
it's a DMing for me.
Do you think that? So we're giving the NFL owners, the benefit of the doubt, the same owners that told Kaepernick, we don't want you in the league. I'm just saying.
No, well, we're not, right? We're not. Like, I think. But it's the thing, right? It's the thing, Faheem, is that I get where you're coming from, but like legit, like if you look at what has been filed and what has happened, it's a repeat behavior. It wasn't like, like, especially like, have you read what he did to all these women? The same thing. Legit, the same thing, right? Allegedly, they said he asked for a massage. He would turn around with his dick in his hand and showing them like, hey, my goodies, right? Like, so, and he was doing it with everyone. It wasn't like just one, like every case. So like every alleged assault was very similar patterns of what he was doing. And my thing is that I think he did it for so long that no one ever stopped him. So he kept doing it. Because remember, he's an NFL player. And there are some women who wouldn't mind that, but the women that did mind it are now in that lawsuit. So my thing is that I don't think these owners, to me, yes, the owners were, remember, and even the owner that gets Kaepernick, their issue with Kaepernick was just again, like what Chris said, it was image. It was just, the military pays us $5 million every year to show the anthem and, the flying like jets. And this guy's distracting our endorsements from that. So it's all monetary. DeShaun Watson, what he was doing, I don't think it would have been a huge impact because, again, these contracts for NFL are very tight. They're very strict. And I don't think, even if DeShaun was to leave, I don't think it would have changed the dynamic because the NFL contracts are trash. They're not even that good, to be honest. NBA contracts are very good. They're like very good.
On the way out of That's Absurd,
yeah,
I want to ask this. If say he didn't want to leave Houston, okay, and he's fine with where he is, and he's doing what they want to do in Houston. My question is this. you think this is still coming out if he just went along with the program? He's happy there? Just a yes or no, like yes. I think it's still come out, or no, I don't. You think it is? What, Nelly J?
Yes.
How about you, Chris? Do you think this is still coming out if he goes along with the program?
I think yes, it's coming out.
Okay.
Definitely.
All
Definitely.
right.
Yes, and also keep in mind, Faheem, that the lawyers for the ladies, for the women that are suing him, he actually approached DeShaun and his agent one-on-one prior to, and advised them to kind of deal with this off the books. And DeShaun and the lawyer said, we're not doing anything. So that's when they went public. So he had a chance to deal with this lawsuit or deal with this assault charges, whatever, on a more of a private, one-on-one type thing. But he didn't want to do it because he didn't think that they would actually be this big. So.
All right. So we're going to wrap this That's Absurd topic with allegedly. As per
ESPN.
If it is allegedly, though, then those are some of the 22 best actresses in the world.
Yo, and the makeup artist that said he DM'd him, he DM'd them asking for massages. Makeup artist. How's a makeup artist supposed to give you a massage, DeShaun? Like, come on. Anyway, allegedly. That's what she said.
Allegedly. All right. So that's episode 35. Chris, thanks for coming
35.
out.
Episode 35, Chris. So, Chris, we'd love to give our guests a chance to do a shout out. So the floor is yours.
Well, I think my family's been kind of quiet in the background. So I definitely want to give a shout out to my wife and my 3 kids for holding it down for me and allowing me to communicate to you guys.
Yeah.
And the other thing I want to shout out all the moms and fathers that take their kids to organized sports, helping them get better at their sport and their love, and sort of even in this COVID time, figuring out ways to get their kids out of the house and working out, maybe running some hills or running on the block. Keep striving, keep struggling. We'll get out of this. Stay healthy.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nelly J.
So my shout out this week is actually towards Dante Wright, him and his family. For those who don't know, Dante Wright was, I think, 18 years old. And he was shot by a U.S. ex-officer now because she resigned. And she was trying to reach for her taser, but instead reached for her gun. And we lost a young soul. I think he was stopped because he had a warrant or some type of like a parking ticket, and it was sent to the wrong address. So she was stopping him to ask a question about that. So I don't know how stopping someone for a parking or a past parking ticket turns into an assault or someone getting killed, but this happened to this young king. So I just want to shout out Dante Wright, his family, and his friends. It's a rough week in Minnesota right now. I know the Twins and other sport teams canceled games in respects to Dante Wright and his family. So just keep them in your thoughts, guys. That's all. And my also shout out is to Chris. Thank you for joining us, Chris. Appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, Chris. And like I said, known him well over 20 years. Never told him this before, but I'm pretty new to marriage and pretty new to fatherhood. So I must say, being around him and his lovely wife, Rochelle, and his 3 lovely children.
You're gonna make me cry.
No, I'm saying honestly, this dude, not only is he a sports guy and just a good guy, but he's like a model. I see him as a model in regards to like a role model, as like parent, just family. He's a model family man also, and I mean that. So, and that's very admirable. So I just want to salute you with that. Okay.
Far too kind, sir.
That's real. All right. So
awesome, y'all.
That's episode 35.
35, guys. Comment,
Yay.
share, subscribe, share with a friend. Y'all, you know where we at. We're in all podcast platforms.
That's right. Check us out wherever you need to see us. You know where to find us. That's Good Rookies Podcast, episode 35. And we out. Peace.
Bye.